Horton's world mythology welcomes you. Imagine sitting alone at night, your home quiet, until a chill runs down your spine and a spoon clatters in the kitchen. You know you're alone. The silence grows heavy, every shadow stretching, every sound amplified. You find the kitchen empty, but your keys are now arranged in a perfect circle on the table, something you didn't do. The sense of being watched intensifies. Logic fails, unease grows. This is the unsettling reality for those who experience poltergeist phenomena, a world where the ordinary becomes inexplicable. The home, once safe, becomes a stage for a disturbing unseen force. Poltergeist means noisy ghost in German, and that's exactly what it is: chaotic, physical, and loud. Unlike traditional hauntings, poltergeists throw objects, slam doors, and disrupt electronics, often with no visible cause. The activity is unpredictable, sometimes escalating to stones raining indoors or fires starting spontaneously. Unlike ghosts with tragic backstories, poltergeists rarely have a clear identity. They're more like a storm than a spirit. Over time, investigators notice these events often center around a single person, usually a stressed adolescent. This led to a controversial theory. The poltergeist source may be the living, not the dead. The chaos might be coming from within. Some believe poltergeist activity is psychokinesis, unconscious psychic energy from a person under stress. The mind, in turmoil, projects chaos outward, moving objects and making noise. This theory explains why activity often starts and stops with the focus person. But not all cases fit. Some phenomena seem too intelligent or complex to be subconscious. Others insist it's an external entity, something truly supernatural, even malevolent. So, is it the mind, matter, or something darker at work? Poltergeists are defined by action: loud knocks, objects flying, and technology going haywire. The most common sign is unexplained banging or rapping, sometimes escalating to objects levitating or being hurled. Electrical disturbances are frequent. Lights flicker, appliances turn on, phones ring with no caller. In rare cases, objects appear or vanish, water puddles form, or fires ignite without cause. These events are impossible to ignore, often terrifying and sometimes dangerous. The force behind them seems intent on disrupting daily life. It's not just noise, it's a direct, physical intrusion. At its peak, poltergeist activity can fundamentally alter the environment. Ghosts and poltergeists are not the same. Traditional hauntings replay the past, passive, tied to a place with a clear backstory or apparition. Poltergeists are active, interactive, and unpredictable, often responding to people in real time. There's rarely a visible ghost or tragic tale, just chaos, with no clear identity. The focus shifts from the history of a house to the people living in it. If the source isn't a spirit, what is it? Investigators now look for storms within the living, not just the dead. The real mystery may be inside us. Across centuries, poltergeist cases reveal a pattern. The activity follows a person, not a place. This focus person is usually a child or adolescent, often a teenage girl, experiencing emotional or biological upheaval. The phenomena intensify around them, sometimes stopping when they leave and resuming on their return. Their belongings are often targeted, as if the energy radiates from them. This discovery shifted the narrative from external haunting to internal turmoil. The focus person is usually unaware, suffering alongside everyone else. The poltergeist may be a manifestation of inner conflict, not a ghost at all. The link between poltergeist activity and a human agent is made even stronger when we examine the agent's emotional state. In nearly every case involving a focus person, that individual is found to be experiencing a period of extreme emotional or psychological stress. This is not the everyday stress of exams or chores, but deep-seated turmoil. This can stem from a variety of sources: family conflict, repressed anger or frustration, the trauma of abuse, social isolation, or the intense hormonal and identity crises associated with adolescence. The poltergeist, in this context, is seen as a physical symptom of this overwhelming inner pressure. Parapsychologists who support this theory propose that the agent is unconsciously converting their emotional pain into physical energy. This is the core concept of recurrent spontaneous psychokinesis, or RSPK. The idea is that the human mind, under specific and extreme conditions of duress, can influence the physical world without conscious intent. The agent is not deliberately throwing objects, rather their repressed anger, fear, or anxiety builds up to a breaking point and erupts outwards like a psychic volcano. The flying plates and slamming doors become a violent, non-verbal expression of emotions that the person cannot articulate or resolve in a healthy way. This theory explains why the phenomena are often so chaotic and seemingly pointless. A troubled teenager's inner world can be a whirlwind of conflicting emotions: anger mixed with sadness, a desire for attention coupled with a fear of it. The resulting poltergeist activity mirrors this inner chaos. It's not guided by a clear, rational intelligence, but by raw, fluctuating emotion. One moment, the force might seem playful, stacking objects in a neat pile. The next, it might become violent, smashing a treasured possession. This erratic behavior is consistent with the unpredictable nature of an emotional crisis, rather than the actions of a coherent spiritual entity. Ultimately, this perspective reframes the poltergeist from a paranormal menace to a profound psychological cry for help. The activity often serves to draw attention to a dysfunctional family dynamic or a hidden trauma that has been ignored. Once the source of the agent's stress is identified and addressed, through therapy, changes in the family environment, or simply the passage of time, the poltergeist phenomena almost always fade away and cease completely. The storm within the agent calms, and as it does, the storm in the house subsides with it, leaving behind a powerful testament to the mysterious and potent connection between the mind and the material world. Poltergeist stories go back centuries, with cases like the drummer of Tedworth in 1662 England, where phantom drumming and chaos plagued a family, and the Great Amherst Mystery in 19th century Canada, where Esther Cox endured violent, mysterious attacks. These cases set the pattern for poltergeist lore: unexplained noises, moving objects, and terrified witnesses. In 1931, the Irving family of Cashin's Gap claimed their farmhouse was haunted by Geff, a talking mongoose. Geff spoke, sang, and played tricks, sometimes helpful, sometimes mischievous. Was he a poltergeist, a hoax, or just a lonely girl's invention? The mystery of Geff remains unsolved. In 1967, strange disturbances shook a modern law office in Rosenheim, Bavaria. Lights exploded, phones rang to silence, and equipment malfunctioned. Investigators traced the chaos to a young secretary, Anne-Marie Schabel, linking the bizarre events to her presence. The Rosenheim case remains a landmark, suggesting poltergeist activity could be a real psychokinetic force in the modern world. In 1977, the Hodgson family's Enfield home became the center of the world's most famous poltergeist case. Beds shook, furniture moved, and young Janet was reportedly levitated by an unseen force. Police, journalists, and investigators all witnessed strange events, sparking global debate. Was it real or a clever hoax? The Enfield poltergeist remains a mystery. While tales of spirits have dominated poltergeist lore, a new theory looks not to the dead, but to the living. Psychokinesis suggests our minds can move objects, mind over matter, especially under stress. The chaos mirrors inner turmoil, reframing poltergeists as psychological, not supernatural. Central to the psychokinetic theory of poltergeists is the focus person, often a distressed teenager. Activity orbits them, feeding on their emotional state. Calm brings quiet, but turmoil erupts into chaos. Researchers like William G. Roll found this pattern too consistent to ignore. The focus person becomes both the source and victim of the storm. Parapsychologists coined the term RSPK, recurrent spontaneous psychokinesis, to frame poltergeist phenomena as a subject for scientific study. Instead of searching for spirits, investigators look for a living agent and underlying psychological stressors, treating the poltergeist as a symptom of human distress, not a paranormal enemy. Yet, some cases still defy explanation, leaving the door open for other theories. Poltergeist activity, seen through the RSPK lens, is not a haunting but a desperate cry for help, a physical language for pain that can't be spoken. Instead of exorcism or ghost hunting, what's needed is compassion and psychological support. Treating the person, not the ghost, calms the storm, revealing the true power of the human mind. Not every ghost story is supernatural. Many so-called hauntings, like the Enfield poltergeist, reveal human trickery, often for attention, fame, or money. Hoaxes blur the line between real and fake, forcing investigators to stay skeptical and making the search for truth even harder. Skeptical investigators use critical thinking and observation, not gadgets, to unmask tricks behind supposed hauntings. They look for hidden strings, fake knocks, and simple illusions, often finding natural explanations for the unexplained. For skeptics, Occam's razor rules, the simplest answer is usually the right one. Beyond the hoax, some poltergeist cases leave behind an unexplained residue, strange events witnessed by credible people, with evidence that defies easy explanation. This stubborn data keeps the mystery alive, suggesting that even after exposing fraud, something real and mysterious remains. When fraud and psychology can't explain poltergeist cases, we return to the oldest idea: a ghost is present. Some believe these spirits interact with the living, using objects and noises to communicate. In famous cases like Enfield, the entity gave verifiable details, suggesting a conscious mind at work, separate from any living person. Some theorists think spirits need energy from the living to manifest, making poltergeist activity a collaboration between the living and the dead. The stone tape theory suggests that strong emotions can imprint onto a house's stone and wood, replaying as ghostly echoes like footsteps or objects moving when triggered by renovations or sensitive people. But, like a recording, these hauntings can't interact or answer questions, so the theory can't explain every poltergeist case. When paranormal investigators step into a potential poltergeist case, they're not just looking for flying objects. They're searching for patterns and anomalies that might, point to a supernatural cause. Their toolkit includes a range of electronic equipment designed to detect environmental fluctuations that are often reported during paranormal events. One of the primary tools is an EMF meter, which measures electromagnetic fields. Investigators look for sudden, unexplained spikes in the EMF readings, particularly in areas where activity is reported, as these are theorized to be a byproduct of a spirit attempting to manifest or interact with the physical world. Another key area of investigation is temperature. Witnesses in poltergeist cases frequently report sudden and inexplicable cold spots, a localized drop in temperature that has no apparent environmental cause. Field investigators use thermal cameras and digital thermometers to document these fluctuations. The theory is that a spirit must draw energy from its surroundings in order to manifest, and it does so by pulling heat out of the air, resulting in a noticeable cold patch. Documenting a significant temperature drop that coincides with another event like a disembodied voice or a moving object is considered strong evidence of a paranormal presence. Perhaps the most compelling evidence for an intelligent entity comes from electronic voice phenomena, or EVP. Investigators use digital audio recorders to capture sounds that aren't audible to the human ear at the time of recording. During an investigation, they'll ask questions into the empty air, leaving periods of silence for a response. Upon playback, they sometimes find faint, whispered voices on the recording that appear to be direct answers to their questions. These captured voices, when clear and relevant, are considered by many in the paranormal field to be direct communication from a discarnate entity, providing powerful support for the spirit hypothesis. Ultimately, Paranormal investigators combine these instrumental readings with witness testimony and historical research to build a case. They look for convergence, a moment when an EMF spike, a temperature drop, and a captured EVP all occur simultaneously as an object moves across the room. While critics argue that these instrumental readings are often misinterpreted and have natural explanations, for the paranormal investigator, they are the vital signs of a haunting. They're the fingerprints left behind by the ghost, the echoes of a presence that exists just beyond the veil of our normal perception, offering clues to the nature of the entity causing the disturbance. Poltergeist outbreaks are rarely benign. Families endure escalating terror, psychological trauma, and even physical harm. Scratches, bruises, and attacks by unseen forces. Homes are damaged, relationships strained, and victims often left isolated and ridiculed. The harm is deep, lasting long after the haunting ends. While most poltergeist stories are terrifying, rare accounts suggest some can be protective, waking families during danger or helping find lost items. These tales hint at a mischievous, even caring spirit, but such cases are the exception, not the rule. For most, poltergeists remain a source of fear and chaos. When we think of poltergeists, our minds are often flooded with images crafted not by paranormal investigators, but by Hollywood filmmakers. The cinematic poltergeist is a creature of high drama and spectacular special effects. It's, a malevolent entity with a clear demonic agenda, often tied to ancient burial grounds or a sinister cult. In films like the iconic 1982 classic Poltergeist, the activity escalates with relentless speed and theatricality. It starts with chairs stacking themselves and quickly moves to killer clown dolls, man-eating trees, and portals to other dimensions opening in the closet. The goal is always grand and terrifying, to steal a child's soul or drag the family into a spectral netherworld. These movie poltergeists are almost always intelligent, powerful, and explicitly evil. They communicate in booming, demonic voices and orchestrate a symphony of terror with a clear narrative purpose. The house itself becomes a character, a malevolent funhouse where every room holds a new, spectacular horror. Beds levitate and spin, corpses erupt from the swimming pool, and faces melt in the mirror. The phenomena are designed for maximum visual impact, building towards an explosive climax where priests and psychics must battle the entity head-on in an epic struggle between good and evil. This is the poltergeist as a movie monster, a supernatural villain that provides jump scares and a clear, satisfying narrative arc. The cinematic depiction often merges the poltergeist with demonic possession. The entity isn't just throwing things, it's trying to corrupt and inhabit one of the family members, usually the youngest and most innocent child. This raises the stakes from a mere haunting to a spiritual war for a human soul. The solution, therefore, is almost always a dramatic exorcism, a religious rite that pits faith against a powerful, named demon. This narrative choice provides a clear hero and a clear villain, transforming the chaotic and confusing nature of a real poltergeist case into a more straightforward and digestible horror story for audiences. Ultimately, Hollywood's version is designed to entertain, not to inform. It takes the core elements of real poltergeist lore, moving objects, a focus on a child, and amplifies them to an epic scale. The horror is spectacular, visual, and externalized. It is a monster that can be fought and, hopefully, defeated. This creates a thrilling cinematic experience, but it also paints a highly distorted picture of what people experience in genuine cases. The Hollywood poltergeist is a loud, bombastic beast, a far cry from the quieter, more insidious and psychologically complex reality of the phenomenon. Real poltergeist cases are subtle and unsettling. Mundane objects move, keys end up in the fridge, and the force is faceless, chaotic, and unpredictable. There's no dramatic battle, just a quiet, lingering unease that slowly fades, leaving families with unanswered questions. We've explored poltergeists from phantom drummers to modern-day disturbances, sifting through evidence and theories. Are these mysteries products of the mind or echoes from beyond? At this crossroads, the truth remains elusive, perhaps a blend of psychology, hoax and the truly unexplained. The poltergeist mystery endures because it refuses to be solved. For every answer, new questions arise, science and belief forever at odds. It's a puzzle box with no key, a whisper in a quiet room reminding us of the world is stranger than it seems. As our journey ends and the candle's smoke fades, what magic will you carry forward? Challenging us, repelling us, and forever inviting us to question the limits of our own will. The answer lies in understanding our capacity for darkness and light. And ask yourself, do you believe? Do you dare to explore the unknown, to confront the shadows that lurk in the dark corners of our world? We may stumble upon truths more unsettling than the shadows themselves. Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey through the history of poltergeist. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to Horton's World Mythology for more explorations into the world's most fascinating myths and legends. And don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss an episode. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. What other mythical creatures or legends would you like us to explore next? Share your ideas, and let's keep the flame burning bright. And as always, stay curious.